This is Charlie Mike, the podcast. Veterans helping veterans, talking about things happening in the veteran community, things we've experienced and overcome, such as addictions, PTSD, depression, legal trouble. And we also promote veteran-owned businesses. If you're talking about it, we're talking about it. This is Charlie Mike, the podcast.
Yo, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Charlie Mike, the podcast. As always, I'm your host, and your co-host is William.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome back. I love being here. I don't know what else to say. I got one. It's okay to not be okay. Let's put them out there. Let them know.
Yes, sir.
We got your back.
Yes, sir. Always and forever. With September being Suicide Awareness Month,
yep,
which I truly believe should be every month of the year. And here at Charlie Mike, that's something that we strive to let you know that it's okay not to be okay. And only the strongest reach out for help.
That's right.
And it takes a hell of a strong individual to do that. So never feel like you're alone. Always ask for help, day or night, 24/7.
Yep.
And with that being said, how was your damn week?
Man, I'm blessed, man. Life is good and I am blessed. It's so surreal, man, that we're in September already.
Man, it's crazy.
And
it's 100 degrees outside.
It is. It's hot in here in Texas. But the days are long, but the years really fly by, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I have been doing this now, over 20 episodes or so since
has it been that
February?
Long? Jesus, February?
Yeah. Like 7 months or man. And it's surreal to take it all in and see where it's gone. And Rolo and I have been talking about what's next, what can we do better, and we love the feedback you guys give us too. And we appreciate you guys tuning in.
Yeah, we got a lot of amazing things in store, especially with Charlie Mike Military Apparel. Everything's coming together. We're officially on GovX now.
Yeah.
So be sure to, you'll see GovX promoting us and doing things like that for us. And we're excited to be in a partnership with them. GovX is a trusted site that a lot of us in law enforcement, military, medical, as well as, teachers, we give a 20% techer discount. Did you
That's
know
pretty
that?
Cool.
Yeah.
Hey, we appreciate you out there, teachers.
Definitely. We know you got to put up with all them crazy kids. and
I got 4 of them in the school system right now.
Mine's one of them. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, sure do.
Man, with that being said, I want to ask you. You got some things coming up.
I do. Hey, so if you're in Houston, next Friday is the first Veteran Business Expo at HTC West. It's going to be a phenomenal event.
What's the date next Friday?
It's September 30th. September 30th.
Okay.
My wife and I's business will be there. So, come get a snow cone and lemonade.
What's it called, man?
Our business is called Snowy Jeba. My wife's name is Jessica, but she goes by Jeba. So you can look us up at Snowy, SNOWIE JEBA. Man, we'll be there. There'll be some other fantastic organizations. And the reason why I let you know this is because veterans are made to be entrepreneurs.
I agree. 100%.
I mean, you're looking at 2 of them right here in front of you, and it may not seem like a big business, but small businesses make the world run, man. 80% of employees are small business employees. We make America great. You think Walmart, he was a veteran. FedEx, he was a veteran, and it's completely humbling to see that there's going to be over 100 of us there at Houston's first Veteran Business Expo. And not to toot my own horn, but I get to have a small speaking event there too. Talk about some of the veteran business resources that are out there. So it's a humbling thing, man.
Man, you're doing big things. I see you out there, man. And a big shout out to the Houston
Regional Veterans Chamber of Commerce.
Man, I couldn't have said it.
I got your back, bro.
Let's say it real fast. No, I'm just playing. All right, man. So let's without further ado, let's bring in our guest.
Yes. So
oh, that was the wrong button.
That's all good. So today we have Ms. KIM Hartgraves. She served 10 years in the Army Reserves and National Guard. I had the pleasure of meeting Kim. I think we actually met at an Impact the Hero event at the Over the Edge. That may have been the first time we met. And it was like, oh man, this is pretty cool event. We kind of rappelled down the side of a building, and then I got to know her more and more, and I consider her a friend, you know, someone that I can kind of turn to, and we can both connect that way. Where we're out now trying to find our way in the world, and she is active in the veteran community. She has a phenomenal story, I'm telling you, and it's my pleasure to introduce Ms. Kim. So Kim, tell us something that not everybody knows.
Oh, goodness. And of course, right as we start talking is when my neighbor has their yard getting cut, and it's like, so you might hear a little bit of background noise, but something you don't know about me. My original MOS was 88 Mike.
Oh.
Driver.
I was a truck driver, man.
That's crazy.
Very cool.
So what that was your MOS that you did when you served?
Correct. Yeah. So I enlisted, golly, back in 2003. Went into the Army, wanted to get the quickest AIT in and out, get back to school and everything, contracted ROTC. So I got my commission in 2006, 2007. So
Yeah, the years run together.
they blend, they blur. Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, that happens a lot to me with units. When people ask me what unit, and I'm like, 7. I can never get it right. Well, tell us a little bit about your upbringing and what influenced you to join the military.
Sure, absolutely. So I was born and raised in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Both my parents served in the Air Force. I didn't know it really until I got older. They didn't talk about their service. They did their 4 years and got out. They met in England. So that was a pretty cool story. Wow. How they got together. My mom is from the Valley down in Brownsville. My dad was from Pittsburgh, and like amazing how the connections come together with the military. But even through my upbringing, I mean, looking back at it, especially from a psychology standpoint, you know, they were very strict and regimented, and I should have seen it and known. But until I got older, I didn't know that they were in the military.
Like normal, right? I mean, yeah. My dad was a Marine, and he didn't. I was like maybe 2 when he got out. But then in my entire life is that Law and Order kind of upbringing, and it's like, oh yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Not everybody's like us.
Oh yeah. And I guess just like as I was getting ready, you know, to graduate and go to college and everything, the military wasn't something I was thinking about. I had a full ride academic scholarship. I was super excited. I had 3 different choices of where to go for school. And then I started sinking into my first semester. And honestly, I felt kind of guilty because all of us had been there through that era and that time. I was sitting in my senior year of high school when we saw everything on the TV, and as we all know, the world stopped, or what it felt like the world stopped. And so I just felt guilty that first semester. And so I enlisted.
Right.
So,
and
because that's clearly the right thing to do, right?
That was a big push for a lot of people. So you said you were in high school when you witnessed 9/11.
Yeah, I was a senior. I remember it was like a free class time that I had. I was in AP classes, and so it was like cool. We had like the TVs, like the actual box TVs upraised, not flat screen, not like YouTube or anything like that. And so I remember they turned it on, and then we're like, oh my gosh, like how did this happen? Like how? And then we saw the second one hit, and all of us looked at each other, and we knew that it was no coincidence, no accident, and yeah.
I remember that. What were you again?
I was
Bro.
Where was I?
Yeah.
I was hungover.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we had a party the night before, and I was laying on the sofa when my buddy ran in and was like, we're being attacked, and he turned the TV on, and I was like, what movie is this? And he's like, it's not a movie. And then like not thinking, I automatically thought it was downtown Houston. So I panicked because of the family and us being in Houston. And yeah, I remember it like yesterday.
Wow. Yeah. No, I was a junior in high school too, so it was a scary time. Where were you at, Kim, in high school?
I was in high school, so it was up near Pittsburgh where I was at the time. It was like maybe second period, something like that. Yeah.
So that was a big push for you to join. Now, when when you started, when you told your family, let's talk about how you told your family that
Ooh.
you enlist.
Well, and I did not go about it the right way. And my stepdaughter actually graduated a year early from high school, and she just started her freshman year of college. And we've had this conversation. If you have any desire to join the military, please talk to us first, because I didn't tell my parents.
What do you mean you didn't tell them?
I didn't tell them. I just went for it. And one, they were upset. I'm an only child. So, I mean, the fears of everything in that time and everybody being deployed. But then I think they were upset that I chose Army over Air Force. So, you know.
Yeah, clearly they would know.
So how was it? Yeah, that's crazy. I could just imagine what your parents were thinking. So did you just call them, or came home, or be like, hey, I'm leaving?
Honestly, I think one of my references, I used the neighbor as a reference, and they were like, hey, so that's really cool that your daughter enlisted. I'm like, oh gosh. So
Wait,
talk about getting busted like that.
not the most proud moment of my life. And especially now as a parent, I can only imagine the stress that I put my parents under, but
That's
love you, Mom,
like,
love you, Dad.
please forgive me.
That's like today's version of being caught on camera. Like, that was you. We saw you on video. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, there were threats of, we're not coming to your basic training, and how could you do this? And they were there. They're super supportive.
So you enlisted and then you went back to school?
Correct. Yeah. So I started out as a music major. I was going to do music therapy. Found out that was just not my love language. Came back and decided to go into recreational therapy with really the main objective to work with veterans. That was my number one thing. And I think that's another reason why it's a push for me to enlist is if I was going to work with veterans, and if I was going to work with people that had mental health issues or potential mental health issues or physical limitations, that I wanted to be through it all. I wanted to truly understand. And so maybe that's where some of my drive and motivation came from, knowing that was the end state for me.
That's very interesting. And when did that revelation come about, right? That was that during the process, or now with some time, you're like, you know what, that makes a lot of sense why I went enlisted first?
A little bit of both. I think ultimately it was the guilt factor of, okay, well, how am I sitting here? You know, I've got my school paid for. Why? Why am I should be doing more. So that was the number one thing. And then as I started to be a part of the culture more, it's like, okay, I can do more with this. I want to experience it all so I can help people the best I can. So.
Well, that's phenomenal. I mean, it
might sound tacky and cheesy, but
no, I mean, I relate to that because on this end, right, as the veteran, and I really try to help out a lot with the Veterans Chamber and the veteran organizations. I want to go through the classes and I want to experience it as a veteran, not as, you know, a podcast host that's going to come back and report everything to you or some type of special treatment. Like, I don't want any of that. I just want to know what you guys are doing and what it's like so that I can share it with our guest or share it with the veteran that I'm talking to that day. Like, no, I went through this program and it helped me.
Yeah, 100%.
You know,
that's definitely
absolutely. The experience itself is a game changer. Being able to relate to somebody, and the good, the bad, the grumblings, the indifferences of enlisted versus officer, it made sense, and I think it helped me as well, because there were some people that we went through with training and so on that were just straight officer, or that's all they knew, or their parents were, or they were from a military school. And you could tell the difference in their demeanor, in their drive, in what the outcomes were. And so I wanted to experience it all, from enlisted through the officer side. I mean, that kind of fell into my lap. Looking back, would I have stayed enlisted? I'd be honest, probably yes, but yeah.
Really? I don't think I've heard that before. People say that
I think
officer, that's it. Like, I never go back. Maybe chief warrant, or go warrant officer, but I couldn't see like.
That's that middle of the road. That's that, yeah.
That's a really gray area right there. What is it you do?
Yeah.
So when did you become an officer then?
So then I got my commission in
2006.
2006.
So you enlisted in
Yeah,
what, 2003, you said?
in 3, yeah.
Okay.
So I got my commission in 2006. It was Medical Service Corps. So wanted to do as much research as I could, wanted to further my education, of course, between deployments and being moved around. And it's like every time I came into a unit, they were leaving. Every time I was leaving a unit, they were getting ready to go. So fortunately and unfortunately, I never got to experience a deployment. A lot of people close to me went and came back, went and didn't come back. A lot of spouses that I'm still connected with went through the whole process. And there's that level of guilt factor there as well that, why did they go? Why didn't I go? Or just whatever the timing was. And I guess that's where I struggle. And I appreciate y'all having me on too, because having big names like Hector and Tim and Jeff, everybody has such an amazing story. And then I stop and I think, well, I didn't do anything special. But somewhere in there, hopefully somebody will pick something out that it's special to them or they can relate to.
You served, and you served at a time where most wouldn't have would have thought of it, especially since you had already had college paid for. You were already doing that, so that's very honorable. And don't ever think that your story is not worth being shared or told, because like you said, no matter, whatever, somebody can take something and be like, I relate to that, and that's how I feel, and that is going to make me want to keep pushing. So it's honored. We're honored to have you on the show.
No, it takes a lot of courage too to talk about it. I feel like we had a conversation like this where it's like I got to serve in combat roles. I never, and as an infantry man, those guys are arrogant. I'll tell you the truth. And it wasn't until, of course, now with some age and some distance, and I'm like, that was kind of a jerk thing to do or say and be a part of. And I just want to make sure that everybody knows, again, your story's worth telling because it's going to relate to somebody. And there's no way I know this, there's no way I could have done my job without folks supporting us or being in our system and to think of how rude I was or arrogant I was before, especially meeting someone like you. It's like, it's humbling. Have some humble pie because look at all the great things that you're doing now, or look at the great things that they're doing. And where would we be without it?
Yeah. And to think that you didn't have an impact with, being here in the States and being, with people that did deployments and served overseas. We needed individuals here stateside to keep things running and to look after the family. And quit touching your mic.
I can't help it. I'm sorry. I'm used to the other one, bro.
Yeah, sorry. And without individuals like yourself and others, we y'all took a big worry off our back and when it came to worrying about home and so don't ever feel like you didn't have a part of anything. Yeah. I don't know if that came out the right way.
No, absolutely. And I appreciate that for sure. And even out of that, like just such great stories and such great relationships and bonds and experiences. As silly as it may sound, I was a cadet as a rear detachment commander. And so the crazy stories that we had I was attached to a transpo unit and we wrote out hey, we're going to go on this convoy. We're going to, do with the equipment and we're just going to keep busy and we're going to keep driving on and realizing that the loads are different in Pittsburgh and they're tight turns and so just funny stories back then. Hey, we should have thought that through a little better or just crazy things.
And like you said too, it wasn't your role, right? Like your experiences lead you to where you are now. And and it gave you the foundation to do what you're doing now, to be able to relate to the veterans that you serve now, which is, I think it speaks volumes. And it comes across, like I said, you and I connected almost instantly. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, thanks. And with that too, the relationships that we carry along with us too. I'm currently an active Army spouse. I was married previously. My ex-husband, did deploy and came back and did not come back the same. There were a lot of things that shouldn't happen in a relationship, and that's why the relationship no longer existed. We were very fortunate that at the end of it all, he did receive treatment. He did come to say that, hey, thanks for always encouraging me. I realize my errors. The last time I saw my ex-husband, he was going through treatment for stage 4 cancer. I happened to bump into him on a veteran trip, and he was so thin, and I could see the port through his shirt, and just came up and gave me the big old bear hug that I remember from what was my best friend. Unfortunately, he passed, but to see it all come full circle was incredible.
Wow. That hits deep, because you're a very unique person as well to experience that, what we associate with veterans on both sides, to be the veteran as well as to be the veteran spouse with someone who's been away. And then, I've been married and divorced before too, and thankfully, like you said, we have a good relationship now. But it does take time and treatment. Like you have to work at it.
Yeah, you there has to be a point where you admit that you have a problem, that there's something wrong. And a lot of us don't, man.
Yeah.
A lot of us be like, I'm perfectly fine. The rest of you are crazy. And for you, like William was saying, that to be on both sides and to see it, and it's
it's the wealth of knowledge that you have.
Right.
That's the other part that was really interesting to me as well, is, what is it like to be a spouse of someone who's still serving, or a veteran spouse? It's unique. It can't be too many of y'all out there.
Yeah. Well, and it's apples and oranges too. I can speak to when I was married previously that, having the background and education that I have, there was a lot of guilt and shame that I carried with me, especially when my in-laws would say, well, you have to stick it out. You should understand, you're a therapist. You need to support him. And I'm like, well, there's a fine line when things become physical. And even now, like having an active spouse where it's, you have your good days and your bad days at work. And so being able to talk it through, and even if you have your moments of blowing up or whatever, coming back and being able to talk about it and having that confidence in each other, it's really important. I know that I have counseling that I go to personally for me, just to kind of let go of any demons that are still underlying for whatever reason. I think that is extremely important for everyone, not even just healthcare professionals or veterans or military affiliated. I think it's great for everybody to have, if not a professional, somebody that you can go to just release that and let it go, and have somebody that you can trust, somebody as your backup, especially if you're not feeling safe within yourself.
Yeah. And speaking of that word safe, I want everyone to know out there too that the Veteran Crisis Hotline is 988-1. So
not just veteran.
That's right, the crisis hotline.
Yes.
If you're a veteran though, you press 1. I gotta try it out, bro. I gotta make a call.
I don't think that's the way it works.
No?
I don't know.
Because every time I've heard it said, it's the Veteran Crisis Hotline is 988-1.
Well, okay, if you're a veteran, you press 1.
There you go.
Yeah.
But the crisis hotline is still this. It's 988. So
and you can also text that, and you'll get a response. So if you feel like you need help and you don't want to actually talk to somebody, you're more than welcome to text that, and somebody will respond to you. Professional.
That's right. And you bring up a great point. It's important to continue to seek help. I still see someone probably monthly now. I don't talk to her as often, but when it came to my relationship with my wife, I know I had to go see someone weekly for a few months so that I could get right before my wife was like, okay, we can work through this, because that's my story, is I had to get myself correct before I can fix those things around me that I wanted to fix.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it's your spouse, it's your significant other, it's your children, it's your work environment. it's unbelievable. Even knowing everything, not everything, but knowing a lot of things about mental health and psychology, you still need to hit the pause button for yourself and create some barriers. And yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about what you're doing now. Who is it that you work for, and what are you doing?
Sure. So when I transitioned out, unfortunately, I had to get out medically. I have a neurological condition, cardiovascular condition, which I have a service dog for, and it affects me in different ways. But since I did transition out, I've done private practice. I've worked with individuals with physical and cognitive disabilities. But my newest adventure that I've kind of gotten into is working with Easter Seals of Greater Houston. We have all kinds of programs within our recreational therapy department, both for veterans, veteran families, individuals with disabilities. We have play groups, toy tech. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And that's just our small little piece of the puzzle. Our whole veteran program has mental health services, case management services, service dogs, financial assistance. I mean, basically, we want to be a one-stop shop. And if we can't help you directly, there's almost 100% certainty that we have partner organizations that can help you through whatever it is that you're going through. Something that we're showcasing right now, and I shouldn't say showcasing, but something that we've kind of gotten into here recently, especially within the recreation therapy department, is a substance recovery and treatment facility that we're partnering with Recenter in Houston. So it's been fantastic being able to go in and do yoga and art and reading groups, and it just goes on. And seeing the stories. I know a lot of partners have come in and they've said, well, we didn't know what to expect, and this seemed a little intimidating. It's like, really, you're just talking to your neighbor. You're just talking to somebody you know that happens to have, something going on in their life, and we're just helping them get through it, get over this hump, trying to put some tools in their tool belt to get through.
Yeah, honestly, my experience with Easter Seals, Greater Houston, is that right? Because it's not like the other one that gets up.
No, yeah,
yeah. I've gone to you guys for assistance, especially when I was going through the veteran court process myself. A few years ago, I got in trouble, and you guys helped me a lot along the ways, especially during COVID and things like that. So I speak nothing but y'all's praises.
and I mean, and obviously, I'm a big fan too. My son was someone that was getting help from Easter Seals. He was in the small groups, seeing them monthly, for some temperament issues, things that I didn't know how to react or control. And then I love all the services that they have. I got introduced to them before we met, but about a year and a half ago, and it was just like, man, they have a lot of stuff that's going on, and not just veteran specific either, just a lot of things. And one of the great things that I love that they include is if you're connected to the veteran, there's services for you too, because there is a gray area when it comes to being a girlfriend or a fiance. I know there's a little bit of gray area that they can help out with, which was a big for me, because some organizations are like, nope, you got to be on that the DEERS list, and you're not. We can't give you services. So.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I've been there almost a year and a half, and I mean, we as a team exhaust all resources to be able to help as much as we can. And if we can't personally help, we get you connected.
That's what it's about. I love that. And it's not about you like you said, y'all partner with a bunch of different other organizations. You said the rehab facility, you said addiction, correct?
Correct. Yeah. Substance misuse, abuse, and recovery.
What can you share the name of that location
Sure. It's Recenter in Houston.
The Reed Center?
The Recenter, RE Center.
Okay. Got you. And I was just asking because I do another podcast, and it's on addiction and recovery, and I'd just like to share that information. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if you want to get together offline too about some of the programs that we have going on. I know that Bridging Apps, our technology department, they've been helping get veterans connected. I think they have something right now where they're, if they are there at the facility, that, we can issue you an iPad, get you connected to it, show you how to use it, ins and outs, as well as like our mental health group. They are doing sleep studies. And then, of course, us there for the recreation program. We're there twice a week to make sure that everybody's staying engaged in sober recreation.
So when you say recreation, we're talking yoga, meditation type deals, things of that nature?
A little bit of everything. So we use a therapeutic means to meet your goals and objectives to get you to the best version of you possible. So from the background of working with kids with physical and cognitive disabilities, we're working on appropriate social interaction. We're working on community integration. Some of our adults with disabilities, we're working on direct eye contact. We're working on interview skills. We're working on resume building, volunteering, just getting everybody plugged in, especially that socialization at that age. It's extremely vital so they don't feel disconnected or regress from leaving school. For veterans, I mean, it's anything and everything to stay connected and build that camaraderie. Youth, we've been working with the National Military Youth Foundation as well, with military kids, because they just feel very disconnected. So they go to a public school, let's say here in Houston, and yeah, they have all of their friends, but if mom or dad has drill weekend, or if mom or dad are going on a deployment, or mom or dad has treatment at the VA and they're gone, or they have to have surgery, it's harder to relate to mainstream kids, if that makes any sense. So we try to connect kids as much as possible through camps, through small groups, through our play groups, where it's yoga, karate, dance, art.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing.
I remember I went to that with the bridge.
No,
the bridge navigator or the bridging apps.
Yeah.
There's a lot of apps out there that are free that veterans can use to help with the mindfulness or with their tracking or their journaling, and it's a lot. And I learned it from Hampshire SEALs.
That's awesome.
It's interesting because, I mean, we don't know, just like my little piece of the pie and everything, that we show up to the office and they're having like meetings with Harvard about development with technology and software. And I'm like, this is crazy. So we're very fortunate. And yeah, we just, whatever we can do to connect to veterans. I know that we have some micro camps coming up, some surveys that we got back that people want to get outdoors. So we're going to start doing fishing and we're going to get out and hike. And we've had couples nights. So whatever it is to kind of get veterans connected and centered, we're there.
I think you said, but how did you get involved with Easter SEALs?
So actually my service dog, Agnes, was from Easter SEALs. She was my dog to begin with. And then we went through the training with Allie, my service dog. But yeah, so that was my first introduction with Easter SEALs. And then later on down the road, this position came open for recreational therapy, and the rest is history.
Amazing. It's amazing the way things fall into place, isn't it?
And that's funny because that's how I got involved with Impact to Hero. I went to one of the courses, and then I was like, hey man, how do I help continue this? Or have volunteer, and then that turned into a job.
You know, it's also crazy. You think that the people meet us and they think that we've been friends for years and years and years. And to be completely honest, has it been a year?
I don't even like it.
I don't even think it's been a year.
Oh no, it hasn't been a year.
Yeah,
I think we met a year ago.
Yeah, and we might break up before that year. Yeah, we'll see.
I ain't going nowhere.
I'll change the locks. You can see me just go live by myself. Hey, no, I'm sorry. We went off the path, but things just happen.
Yeah. That's really cool. And so how long have you guys been in Houston, or how long have you lived in Houston?
How long have I lived in Houston? Or I'm sorry, I didn't understand that one.
How long have you lived in Houston?
Sure. So I've been here about 15 years.
Oh, okay.
Total. Oh, yeah, you've been here for a while.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
15 years total.
You're Texas.
Yeah.
Well, and I've had family here, so I mean, I just got here as quick as I could.
There you go. You've seen some amazing things here in Houston, and some horrible things here in Houston.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. Snow or rain?
Oh, I would rather have snow. And I was just going to say, I remember my first torrential downpour when I first moved here. I had my yellow Xterra. I have my 4-wheel drive. Like, I'm prepared for anything. And I see water creeping up. And somebody I worked with at the time had a big old dually. She said, just drive behind me. I'll wake the water. And I'm like, the what?
Yeah. See, I don't play with any of that. I see a puddle and I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna go the other way. Yeah.
You can't swim. That's what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you would rather have the snow? Yeah,
I would rather have the snow. But there again, I'm slightly traumatized from Harvey. So
yeah.
we were very fortunate. We made it through Harvey, but that's a whole nother level.
That's crazy that you say that, because I have a buddy. He's from New York, and I ask him. I said, "Hey, rain or snow?" He said, "Rain, man. Forget that snow, man. It's too cold." Yeah.
Yeah, but at least you can play in the snow. You can go skiing. You can do all the fun things in the snow. Now, when it turns into snert, whenever it's the snow and dirt all piled together and it's nasty.
What did you call it?
Snert.
I never heard that before. It's a nerd. Yeah. That's too funny.
I don't remember that one.
Golly. Well, I don't mind the snow. I mean, as long as I can come and get warm.
As long as you come back to Houston, you'll be fine.
Yeah, but as long as I can go inside and get the heater. Now, if it's cold outside and the AC, the heater's not working, that's a problem. Yeah. You've experienced that also.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. Like, if I'm gonna be cold, I want it to be pretty. I want to have that snow. The number one season is fall, though. All the fall leaves changing. I mean, I get homesick this time of year every year.
I can imagine. Yeah, I can imagine too. Especially being out there, it's gotta be beautiful. It's not too city, is it?
No, it's like an hour. So where I kind of spent a good part of my pre-adult life was about an hour north of Pittsburgh. So I mean, it's just open and pretty. Oh, nice. So when everybody's like, "Oh, pumpkin spice here," or apple cider something, I'm like, no. It's not the same.
It's like, it's 100 degrees outside, right? Yeah. Golly. That's awesome.
So I obviously follow you. We're connected on socials. Tell us about your son, Abel. How did he get into motorsports?
Oh my gosh, he's a trip. I have no idea how he got into motorsports. I was raised around race cars, but this kid on his dirt bike, I mean, he's a beast. He just turned 8 years old. We're traveling all over doing motos now. He got to ride in Supercross up in Dallas last year. But I mean, he loves it. He's got a bit of a story too. Early on, he had a lot of medical challenges. I mean, we had a fast pass up at Texas Children's. And so my husband and I have really tried to not hold him back from anything. Anything that he wants to head out and do, I mean, may as well. We can't break him. We kind of proved that. So.
Wow, that's awesome.
And so how long has he been doing that? When did he first?
Oh, goodness. I try to check like my time hops and stuff. I think he had a little Razor 2 years ago. He progressed on that. So then we got him a Honda CRF 50. We had that for about 6 months. And then Christmas 2 years ago, we got a KTM 50. And so I think maybe 2 years total.
Wow.
He's been riding.
Yeah, man.
I'm meant to check it out. I'm meant to check it out.
It's cool. Yeah. I mean, I've seen some of the videos and pictures.
And you said he's 8?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we just got back this weekend from a race. He's doing the Torque series. It's like a hair scramble. So they go out. He just disappears. He starts at the start gate and then he just like disappears into the woods and then comes back, hopefully in one piece. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, like motocross, like you would imagine it.
Yeah, I'm meant to check it out.
This big.
Definitely. Yeah.
I was like, whoa, man. That was another thing that we connected on because I ride too. And it's, I'm like, man, I want to get my kids into riding. She was like, well, bring them on over. I'm like, but there's a lot of us. She was like, that's okay. Like, all right. I got to take her up on that.
I could see the two little ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not to say nothing, but they're kind of wild.
Yeah. They're wild. They don't like to wear shoes at home. They don't wear shoes at all.
They'll fit in just fine.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome.
So since we're talking about getting kids active into sports and motocross, any advice for moms or with wild kids or kids that, want to take that leap, I guess?
No, I mean, I'm a homeschool mom. So we tried homeschool during the pandemic. I loved it, but just where I was with work and everything, and my husband wasn't transitioning out of the military yet, and which he's currently doing. We went back to public school last year and we missed it. We missed that connection with him. We missed being able to travel with my stepdaughter being so far away. We wanted to go see her more often without any type of boundaries or barriers. So I'm kind of sort of like one of those helicopter moms, but we just want them to experience everything. So I'd say don't be afraid to try things. Even when it came to moto, it was like, okay, go. Like, what's the worst that can really happen? Go. Right now, my husband and my son are taking off on their first hunting trip together. So I don't know what's going to happen, but they'll learn things and they'll have fun and spend time together.
It's good bonding time right there.
Oh yeah.
Some of the best, fondest memories I have with my son was hunting. Yeah, he was a hunter, but he'd be like, "Dad, wake me up when the deer comes." Like that defeats the purpose, but okay. Yeah.
But I will for you.
Yeah, but I got you.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I like to parent the way that I've kind of lived is I don't want to miss any opportunities. I don't want him to miss any opportunities. He'll go from moto one day and we'll have tickets to the symphony the next minute or just whatever, like life that I can just kind of expose him to, all the better. So I highly encourage parents to just let go a little.
That's, one of the funny things, I didn't mean to cut you off, but one of the funny things I heard you say was you enjoyed homeschooling.
I do.
Most people were like, hey, I can't wait till they go back to school. Here, take them. Yeah.
It's a different mindset too.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, you got to have some patience.
Yeah, and it's every kid is different. Every love language is different. My stepdaughter during the pandemic, we were doing like a virtual type platform / homeschool. That was not her love language. I mean, it was like all the time. But my son, he loves it. He just, I don't know. And he's a little attached to mama. But then I'm like, okay, you're gonna go over here and learn this with daddy now. And so I'll come home and I don't like doing that with daddy. I want to do math with you. So
that's awesome. Yeah.
So you've mentioned love language a couple of times. What is your love language?
Oh, I would like to say I'm an acts of service type person. I think that's the biggest way. I don't necessarily like words of affirmation. Physical touch isn't my thing. I don't know. We all kind of have little pieces. I'm an acts of service person for sure.
Did you ever take a test like that to figure out what your love language is?
I'm assuming just leave me alone. Yeah, I really don't know. I'm gonna have to send you the link.
Yeah, I've taken mine twice, and it's a few years in between. At first, it really was personal touch. I'm a hugger. Like my whole family's are huggers too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's, and I understand that. Especially when I was in San Antonio, one of the big things I would always say, and I told all my coworkers this too, is you need at least 8 hugs to sustain, like progress in life, and 12 is even better. And so we would all, bro hug or hug, because we worked with civilians too, and they were all pretty nice. But now I took it again, and it's words of affirmation. So it's being able to hear that what I'm doing is appreciated, which of course goes right into it. A lot of things, the way we are. And when I told my wife that, it made a lot of sense why I would get upset. And I was like, because it's nothing that she did. It's what I needed, and I didn't communicate that to her. Like, hey babe, will you say, I don't know, thank you or proud of me? And now when she says she's proud of me, I'm like, oh my God.
I think both of those fit you to a T.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because you are a hugging person.
I am, bro. I can't help it.
He's like, oh, thank you for checking me out. Yeah. What did he say? 7-Eleven. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's crucial. I mean, communication and relationships. I mean, it's what you want and what you need, and it's being able to convey it to the other person, your wants and desires too. I mean, you can't just have an expectation of, well, they should know. They don't know. So
that's awesome, man.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It does make sense.
Take that test, bro.
I'm gonna have to try it. I'm gonna try it out. I think. How long is it?
It may like maybe 5 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad at all. Then I'll definitely do that. I
Yeah.
was worried about my
It's not that
attention
long.
span. I was worried about my attention span, but
I'm
okay,
over exaggerating.
yeah.
It's only I can't remember how many questions it is.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's like A or B questions.
Okay. Yeah,
So
no problem.
So you should get it pretty right.
Yeah, I could do it in 2 sitting sessions. No, that's awesome. So, is there anything you got coming up that you would like to announce that you got going on?
Oh, goodness. We do have some events coming up with Easter Seals Greater Houston. We have therapeutic riding that we have. Any veterans, veteran affiliated individuals that would like to participate in that. It's a 2 hours once a week for 6 weeks courses. We've had amazing results. People are just kind of coming in thinking, oh, I'm just going to, groom a horse. I'm going to walk a horse. I'm going to ride a horse. But it's so much more. There's that human animal interaction and connection where you have to trust and you have to understand and you have to communicate with, verbal, nonverbal type communication with with this one, with being an animal or a horse. So it's been great. It's been great to really have, and we want to do some more breakouts with mental health with our counselors after our courses. We have a micro camp coming up for fishing at the end of October. I want to say it's like October 21st, 22nd. It's on a Saturday. But we're constantly growing. We're constantly looking at new opportunities, wanting to kind of fill what everybody wants to do and see. Because we could put on all these amazing events, but if nobody shows, it's not worth it. So,
Right. So how does somebody find those resources or get in contact with you guys?
Sure. You can check out the Easter Seals Greater Houston website. We also have an events calendar, Easter Seals Greater Houston, or feel free to email me, khartgraves@eastersealshouston.org.
That's awesome. And as the time goes on and you guys have events that y'all want us to put out, be sure to just drop us an email. We'll be glad to share anything that you need us to.
Absolutely.
What so just some personal questions. What I gotta ask.
Go ahead.
What are you working on now for yourself? Are you reading any books or are you taking any classes?
I am. I'm working on my doctorate right now in psychology, as well as theology. I did my master's in psychology and childhood development. So that's consuming a lot of my time when I'm not homeschooling or working or chasing a kid around a dirt bike track or looking on YouTube how to do a top end on a KTM 50SX. But
that just blew my mind with all those words.
That was a lot.
We kind of went, phew.
Yeah. I heard a bunch of numbers and abbreviations and
Yeah. Do you like to read? Are you reading any books? Anything catching your eye right now?
Not currently. I mean, I'm kind of ashamed to say that just because I do like to spend time. I do my devotionals in the morning.
Cool.
But as the day gets started, I just haven't had time lately.
You got a lot going on.
Yeah.
You got an excuse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then on the side, I mean, just always continuing education, not only just, pursuing my doctorate, but all these coaching seminars with Soldiers of Sidelines. They have a lot of great opportunities. Who are some of the other ones? Just really great leadership, constantly evolving, renewing, reminding, refreshing. There's so many resources out there for veterans. So I highly encourage everyone to seek them out. It sounds kind of corny too, but I mean, I sit there with my social media, and if I'm going to sit there and scroll anyway, I seek out veteran opportunities or, continuing education or different workshops that are going on locally to connect. So,
yeah, there's a lot going on too, especially with that. I think that's another way you and I connected. And it was in the beginning of the year that you had went to one. I can't remember which one it was, though, with another organization. You were like, that one was phenomenal. But of course, that was like 6 months ago.
I was like, we can't remember it now.
I'll have to just scroll back and check it out. No, that's awesome. I mean, again, it's the big things for me is to continue in education, even if it's not through college, it's through courses, because there's always something to take. There's always the refresh to do, and since you are childless and husbandless this weekend, what are you doing for your self-care this weekend?
Self-care this weekend, I'm actually connecting with the Waves Project. I'm going to go diving with some of our veterans and dive buddies this weekend. So I'm excited. This is my first not solo dive is the wrong answer. It's the first dive that I'm having outside of training. So I'm really excited. I don't know. I guess I'm kind of entering this season where I'm doing things for myself. I also did my Harley basic course as well. So I have a fat bog that I'm learning to ride and kind of adjusting to exactly my specifications. But yeah, just having some fun. I mean, I got to raise my stepdaughter. She's off and doing grown great things. And my son's kind of in this almost autopilot type stage. And so I'm like, all right, this is mom season.
Yeah, it's kind of like what you're really attached to them for the first, 5-6 years. And then you're like coaching them and like, okay, like, I want to do everything for you, but get the heck away from me.
Yeah.
but you got it, My daughters were making Nutella, and I got a picture of them, on a bread, and I'm like, I want to do it for them because I know they're gonna make a mess, but they're learning to do it on their own, and it's like, I'll let them go do it.
Absolutely. Yeah, we used to say be careful, and then we phased that out, and then we said make smart choices, and then we phased that out. And now every time we get off the phone with my stepdaughter, or every time my son leaves the house, we say make wise choices, because wise implies that they have experience and they have knowledge behind it. It's not like if I didn't make a smart choice, then I'm dumb. Like, that's not the case at all. So we always tell them make wise choices, and we love them. So.
I like that.
Make wise choices, bro.
Yeah. Story of my life.
Should have told me that earlier, bro. When I needed you.
Well, we appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you so much, and we look forward to hearing back from you and keeping in contact.
Yeah, absolutely. We love the support.
I'm honored. So thank you for everything that you're doing and sharing your shine and making connections. So keep doing what you're doing.
We appreciate it. And I'm sorry, go ahead.
No.
Oh, and for everybody tuning in, be sure to like, share, subscribe. If you liked it, like it. If you didn't like it anyway.
Yeah.
And just as always, Charlie Mike.